Sandpoint has long been a dream for people looking to escape the stress of city life. They want quiet streets, mountain views, and that small town charm everybody talks about. But if you're thinking about moving here, you need to know what's happening behind the scenes because Sandpoint is changing fast. From luxury hotels to high density housing, sports centers, and bike parks, these developments, they could reshape everything that you thought you knew about this place. So before you make the move, watch this video. I'm Ben Geanetta, a realtor right here in Sandpoint, and in this video, I'm going to break down the major developments that are already underway, the controversy around them, and how they might affect your move. If you're planning to relocate to Sandpoint, go ahead and find my relocation guide. It's down in the description below. Just click the link and download it. Right now, I'm standing at ground zero of where the new luxury resort is going to be built right in Sandpoint. Avery Hospitality, they're the ones that bought it and they are going to develop this into a luxury hotel. They are known for building luxury hotels. They're out of Whitefish, Montana, and I will say I'm pretty excited that they are the ones doing this project because they are coming from a small town. They've done this. They have a track record, a history of building resorts in smaller towns. So I think they're going to be sensitive to the community and the concerns that we are going to have. So let's dive into a little bit of what this project is going to entail. First, it's located right along City Beach. If you've ever been here before, if you Google or if you've been to the Best Western Edgewater and the Trinity restaurant, that is where this building is going to go. You can see it right behind me. They haven't demolished it yet. They still need to do that and start going vertical. I believe that's going to happen later in 2025. Of course, with most developments, plans change. So what I currently have of what they plan on doing for this resort is having 85 hotel spaces, 9 condos that kind of work like Schweitzer where you own it. They're going to have, it's going to be rented out. So you could live here year round in the condo, but it's going to be more of a, you buy it, it's an investment, you rent it out when you're not here. And then when you do come to Sandpoint, you can come and stay at the condo right here on City Beach. There's going to be multiple conference rooms, meeting rooms. There is going to be a restaurant. There's going to be an event space and a public gathering space. So overall, this is going to be a really cool project and one that I think that is going to be good for the city of Sandpoint and our community. When listening and reading about Avery's reason for doing this, it's just to compete with other towns such as Coeur d'Alene, Whitefish. Yes, they're going to compete with themselves in a sense, but just other big resort towns that have a center that has a place like this. Because right now, if you own a company or if you want to have a wedding, of course we have some really cool wedding venues, but this is going to be right on City Beach. If you want to bring your company from across the United States, international, there's really no place to do that right now. Of course, with this coming in is going to have a good economic outlook and positive impact on Sandpoint with more tourism because this is going to be a destination. That's just going to help out the local restaurants and shops and stores and businesses because there's just going to be more people here, more money spent. And with this being built, it's going to bring more jobs into Sandpoint, which is always a good thing. And they expect this to be a year-round destination, if you will. So in the wintertime, if you don't want to be up on Schweitzer, if you're not that big of a serious skier, you come down here, you stay, you're right on the beach, you have access to downtown, but then you quickly get up to the mountain. And then of course in the summertime, who wouldn't want to stay here with City Beach literally at your footsteps and access to downtown and walking trails, 2 walking trails actually. This is going to be a year-round destination that's going to be constantly occupied and hopefully not a lot of vacancy. So why are some locals going to push back on this project? Well, the first thing, I think the biggest thing is going to be parking because that is just an issue in Sandpoint. There's not a whole lot of parking. It's debatable whether the city planners and commissioners have done a good enough job on accounting for all this development. So going back to this project, where are people going to park? A lot of people, a lot of locals are saying that they're going to just utilize City Beach parking, which is already pretty packed and hard to navigate. But Avery Hospitality says that's not going to be the case. They are not going to push their guests over into City Beach parking lot. Instead, they've said that they're going to go into downtown Sandpoint and they're going to use some parking space down there and just bus their guest over here to the hotel. That seems like a really stupid idea. So that is a big concern, is just what's going on with parking, because the code says there should be like over 200 parking spots, and I think they've somehow finagled the way into less than 150 parking spots for this development, which is just insane with the amount of condos and guest suites that they're going to have, and then the restaurants, the event center. Like, they're going to need more than 140 parking spots. Another big fear that locals have is just losing that overall small town charm that we have. This definitely is a big boy, big town, bigger resort type of a development, and I get it. A lot of people, they don't want that. They want Sandpoint to stay small, but Sandpoint's been found. Like, its development in progress is going to happen. A lot of people think that this is going to drive up housing costs and renting costs, and maybe. And later in this video, we're going to talk about some affordable housing. That's a new development that's going up, and of course, people are not too thrilled with it, and not because it's affordable. There's other reasons, but we'll get to that. So those are kind of the three big concerns. It's going to be parking, Sandpoint losing its charm, and just raising the overall cost to live in Sandpoint, which is already pretty high. We made it to our second development in Sandpoint where there is a lot of controversy, and I'm talking about the James E. Russell Sports Center. Is this a game changer, or is this just a misplaced mega project? So what's happening here? Well, first, this is a massive indoor sports complex. It's still under construction. You might still hear it. You might still see some stuff in the background. And this is offering year-round space for youth athletics and some tournaments. And why are some people supporting this? Well, it's great for local kids and families, because let's face it, in the wintertime, if you don't like the winter sports, going up to Schweitzer and all that, it can be really difficult to find something to do in Sandpoint. So if you like soccer, basketball, pickleball, and tennis, well, this is a place where you can now go to in the wintertime and still enjoy those activities. Now, I will say, because there's probably locals watching this, right now this is really geared to pickleball and tennis courts. On the website, information that I found, basketball and soccer, those type of indoor activities should be allowed here, but as of right now, it's been mainly tennis and pickleball. And what's great about finally getting an activity sports complex like this in Sandpoint, now we can host some really cool tournaments where the kids and all that, they don't have to travel outside of Sandpoint. They can come to us and enjoy our town, our city, which is going to be good for the economy. So what can you expect? What can you find when you come down here to the sports complex? Well, we already talked about it. There's going to be a ton of indoor courts. I don't know how many, but there's plenty. You can have several matches going on at the same time. There's going to be restrooms, of course. There's going to be a big meeting room, so that way if you do have a team up here, that you have a place to meet. There's locker rooms, things like that. So everything that you need in a sports complex, in my opinion, you're going to find it here. So now let's get to the controversy part. Why are locals not in favor of this complex? Well, they don't like the location. A lot of people say that you could have found a different location, because this is built right in Travers Park. This was donated by the Travers, and there was trees in memory of those who donated the park, and those trees were ripped out. This was a fantastic park. The playground was awesome. It was good for little kids, middle kids, big kids. Now the playground has been revamped, and it's really geared towards younger kids, which is fine, but it kind of stinks for the older kids. But I guess you can make the argument, well, go find something else. I know that they're planning to add a splash pad here. Of course, just like the Avery Hospitality and their resort, parking is an issue. A lot of people think that there's not enough parking here to support this type of facility. When I spoke to the workers inside, so far they said that's not the case. Parking has not been an issue. Another huge concern of the locals is, are the taxpayers who are living here going to have to pay for this? Because is this self-sustainable? Is this too big for Sandpoint? Is there enough interest here locally to support this? And as of right now, this building's been up and running for 6 months, and they are not hitting projections. So of course, everyone's hitting social media and pointing this out and saying, see, told you so, this is too big, it's gonna go upside down, and the burden is gonna be passed on to the people that live here. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't know, it's too soon to tell. As far as memberships go, if you're an adult, which is 19 and plus, it's gonna be $45 a month. If you're a resident or you're a senior and you're and senior 65 or more, it's gonna be $40 a month. And youth, which is 18 and below, it is free, so that's super cool. If you want to get an annual membership, you're going to get 2 months for free, which is super cool. If you just want to come in as a non-member and just do a drop-in date, I believe it's $8 to $16 depending on the season. So overall, it's pretty reasonable. I don't think this is terribly expensive. So let's go on to our third development that's happening in Sandpoint. Technically it's in Sagal, but that's okay. It's part of our community. Let's head over there. You may have guessed it, but we are not in Sagal. Personally, I didn't want to drive all the way down into Sagal to the bike park, so I apologize for my laziness. So we're just gonna do this right here in the office. So what is this bike park? Well, it's 160 acres. It is huge. It covers a ton of ground, and there's about 20 miles of riding trails. They're gonna have a welcome center. They're gonna have glamping and camping and cabins. It's going to be a destination, and there's a lot of people that do support this, but probably a lot more people who don't. So let's start up with the people on why they are supporting this new development. For one, Sandpoint really prides itself on being an outdoor community. We have so many different activities up here. It's insane. You already know a bunch of them. There's skiing, there's the lake with fishing and boating, there's hiking, there's horseback riding trails, you name it, we can probably do it up here in Sandpoint. But one thing that we are lacking is a place where you can get a mountain bike and go off on trails that's designed specifically for mountain bikes. Yes, you can go up to Schweitzer and they have trails, and you can go up the gondola and go down their trails. Yes, you have that. But this is something completely different, and a lot of people are excited about this because we do have a good population up here of people want to get on the mountain bikes and go out and ride. And I don't know the sport, so I don't know the terminology, but with a community that really prides itself on all the outdoor activities, this just adds to it. And we're going to draw more people from Washington and surrounding areas to come up here. And what does that do for our tourism and our economy? Well, yeah, it's going to go up. And guess what? Sandpoint is a tourist town, so this does fit the mold and the vibe of Sandpoint already, and it's just going to help out the local businesses. As this grows, it's going to add some employment. Yes, it's going to be seasonal, and it's not going to be a huge employer, but still, it's more jobs in Sandpoint to help out younger people who are getting into the workforce. But let's focus on why this is not being well received by many people. Well, for one, this is located in Sagal, out in the mountains, in the forest, and there was a bunch of people where they bought property where they did not want something like this in their backyard. The reason they moved out there was to be in a peaceful, serenity type of an environment. And depending on where you are in Sagal, this could be legitimately right in your backyard. It's going to create some noise, traffic is going to increase, there's concerns about the environmental impact this is going to have, because when you have 160 acres and you're putting 20 miles of dirt bike trails through it, that is going to impact the wildlife. There's going to be animals and creatures that call that home, where now with that 160 acres, they probably won't be anywhere near this, at least full time. And this being built in a rural community where there's just residential homes, now you get this commercial recreational activity in the heart of it. Does that really vibe and jive and go with the community and where it's located? Not really, no. And thirdly, the community really sees this as just a pure tourist attraction and not really built for the community. My personal beliefs, I disagree with that. I think there's a lot of kids up here, a lot of young adults who like this sport, who's definitely going to take care of or take advantage of this in our community. So the big question to ask with this development, is this a smart recreational infrastructure, or is this just a high impact project that the locals never asked for? Time will tell. We're at the 5th development that recently happened in Sandpoint. Technically this is Ponderay, but this is rare because this is one development that actually went well and seems to have the complete support of the community. And I'm talking about the Field of Dreams Recreational Complex. So what is happening here? So So this is a multi-phase sports and recreational complex out in Ponderay. It includes fields and walking trails and event space. So again, another really big project in the Sandpoint area that we're all very, very excited for. So what makes this a little bit different? Well, this was created with the community in mind, and it serves a lot of local families. And I will tell you, this development has been in the talk for decades. When I moved here, they were talking about this. I was super excited about it, and it finally just got built at the end of 2024. That was phase 1, and phase 2 is under wraps. As far as the location, which has been an issue, some of these other developments that we've talked about, it seems like the public really likes, the community really likes where this was built. It's on the north side of Ponderay as you're leaving town, on your right-hand side. If you go to Home Depot, there's a back way that you can get there. But this isn't really impacting anybody, and it seems like this is a really good spot for Field of Dreams. So with a complex this big, how was it funded? Because obviously that is a huge question. Was it the taxpayers, or how did this come to be? And it was mainly through partnerships with businesses. So as you can see, as we're flying around the drone, this is really geared to soccer. We have big fields here. Soccer is a major sport in Sandpoint, one of the biggest ones, I think. We do have a strikers team, and we've already started to host some tournaments up here at Field of Dreams. That was last year. And that was part of the thought when Field of Dreams was built, is that, again, we can have other communities, other cities, other towns come up here and visit us, and we're not always the one traveling. Because let's face it, this scenery around here, it's insane. This is such a cool field to play on, and it's just a great venue to have. Another part of Field of Dreams is actually bringing an ice rink to the Sandpoint area. So part of Field of Dreams is opening up an ice rink during the wintertime. That way you can come here, and this can be a multi-seasonal complex. So we're super excited to have that. In addition to soccer, I'm sure lacrosse and some other sports, some other field sports are going to be utilizing this field. I don't anticipate any football games to be out here because they have their own field over at War Memorial Field that was built specifically for the football team, and they have baseball over there. So I don't think this field is going to be shared with those two sports. Baseball, football, I think it's off the table. I think we'll mainly see soccer, we'll see lacrosse here, and we'll see what other sports are going to be held at this complex. But super excited to have this right in our backyard. So the big question on this is, what can other developers learn from Field of Dreams' success? Because obviously they did something right. We are on our 4th one, and we are at Farm and Flats Apartments. Is this going to be smart growth or Sandpoint's breaking point? So what's happening over here? Originally, this was going to be a 48-unit project, but now things have changed, and the project has changed to 88 units, and it's going to be more affordable housing right here closer to downtown Sandpoint. The catch about all this, there is no on-site parking. That's right, 88 units with no on-site parking. So let's jump into why people are supporting this. And when you read the public comments to this project, everyone loves the idea of affordable housing for Sandpoint because, I mean, nationwide, housing is really not affordable. When you talk about Sandpoint specifically, it's really hard to find anything that's affordable. I mean, a starter home up here could easily be $500,000, more, maybe closer to $450,000. So they're trying to bring these affordable housing at a lower cost to the residents of Sandpoint. The designs, they're a little goofy. They're going to be a condo, or not a condo, they're going to be a studio or just a 1-bedroom apartment. So I'll put up some pictures here of kind of what they're thinking about the layout. It is goofy, but again, the key word here is affordable. Another reason why people are really supportive of this project is because it supports downtown. Again, more people living downtown, more economic growth because more people are down here, and the more vibrant and active downtown will get. Another reason why people are supportive of this program, because it's not just residential units that are getting built. The main floor is going to be reserved for commercial. So not only are we getting more people to move and live in downtown on affordable housing, but we're gonna be adding more business and commercial space. Again, economic growth. Now let's jump into why people are against this project. We already touched it. There is no parking dedicated for this building, which, if you ask me, is insane. When you have 88 units going up plus commercial on the main floor, where's people gonna park? The company that is building this, they say that they've done a study and there's enough off-street parking to supply, if you will, this building, which I don't see it. Parking is definitely a challenge in Sandpoint. We've already talked about that. And when you had 88 units and more commercial space, it's just gonna add to the problem we all know we already have in Sandpoint with parking. A lot of architects and residents of Sandpoint, they don't really like the design of the building. They say it doesn't flow. That could be debatable. I see some buildings like this in Sandpoint, so one could argue that yes, it does fit. A lot of people, if you read the comments, says that it doesn't. I'll leave that judging up to you. So this kind of goes against one of the positives. So yes, people want to see affordable housing right here in the middle of Sandpoint, but a big concern, and rightfully so, is the infrastructure. Can Sandpoint handle these units going up? I mean, the infrastructure, it is lagging behind. We do need to spend more money with the downtown infrastructure. They've been working on it, believe me. I've been here for 8 years now, and they have been working on making everything more cohesive, but has there been enough to support a project like this? Probably not. We'll probably see more congestion and just some issues with moving around Sandpoint. Some negative comments, and I'll read them right here, that I've seen posted or sent off to the city commissioners is, this doesn't belong in Sandpoint. It's Salt Lake City style development. This will crash the local businesses by eating up all the public parking. I've provided parking for my business. Why does a building with 48 complexes, why don't they have to? Now it's up to 88. So these are good questions. Now that you know what's going on in Sandpoint with all the development, what do you think of all this change? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Go ahead and leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts.